few months prior to the incident.
On January 28th, 2022, you were still an active Boston police officer, correct?
Yes,
What was your job title in January 2022?
Sergeant Detective.
That means you not only respond to incidents, you actually conduct investigations as a detective, correct?
Yes, primarily fugitive investigations.
You have additional training in order to hold the title and hold a position as a detective, is that right?
Yes,
Not just a regular patrol officer, you have to have special training to get to the rank of detective, is that right?
yes,
As a sergeant detective, that's above a regular detective, indeed, because you're a supervising detective, is that right?
yes,
You have experience and training in order to hold that position as a supervisor in the detective spot as well.
yes. There's civil service tests for the rank, but yes,
And you've investigated crimes, I mean, I'm guessing just a ton of different types of crimes, including assaults, manslaughters, homicides, kidnappings, things of that nature.
no,
You've never investigated anything like that.
no.
So what's the parameters of your investigative skills as you held that title of sergeant detective?
So my parameters were investigating fugitive investigations. That was my specialty, I guess you could say.
So you've responded to, obviously, to countless incidents and scenes as both a patrol officer
Yes.
as well as a detective.
Yes,
You've supervised the investigation of at least the fugitive type of crimes, correct?
yes,
Fugitives trying to thwart investigators to try to find them, right?
yes,
I mean, that's their whole, it's the cat and mouse thing, right?
right.
You being the cat, correct?
Sometimes,
Find the mouse.
yes,
You're also trained in techniques, obviously any detective would be trained in techniques that culprits might use or suspects might use to sort of cover up investigations. I'm sorry, to cover up crimes, to thwart investigations, correct?
objection.
Do you have that training, sir?
No,
So you, in all of your training, 30 years as a Boston police officer, and as a sergeant detective, you don't have any training in what techniques criminals might use to try to cover up their conduct?
no. I've never gone to a training for criminals to cover up conduct, no.
Never been trained in the fact that, I don't know, somebody might want to clean up blood at a scene.
No.
Objection.
Let the answer stand.
What about sanitizing a location?
Objection.
I'll allow it.
No.
What about getting rid of electronic data? You've got to have training in that.
No.
In other words, the fugitives that you chase down and try to find, you don't try to utilize electronic data to go after them?
Sometimes we do, but I don't have any training in it per se.
I mean, things like GPS data and phone calls, and text messages, communications, and things of that nature, obviously.
Yes. Yes.
Sure. These are all things that, at least those things, are things that if you didn't have formal training, you got on the job training and just have common sense about how to go after this type of evidence, correct?
Yes.
Sir, you had an iPhone with a number ending in 0888 back in January 2022, did you not?
Yes.
How many years did you have that iPhone as of January 28th, 2022?
Of several years, I'm not sure how many, but multiple years.
And Mr. Albert, you were notified by the Commonwealth that on September 23rd, 2022, in the fall of 2022, a judge specifically ordered that you were to preserve that phone.
Objection, Your Honor.
Data, correct?
I'll see counsel at sidebar.
Not hire. Well, Your Honor, I think that answers the question. You're not represented in 20.
I'm going to see at sidebar about the extent of the inquiry.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Thank you. You had received, I want to draw your attention to 2023 now. I'm sorry. Now I'm doing it. The fall of 2022, September of 2022.
Yes.
Did you receive a notice on Commonwealth letterhead indicating that you were not to destroy or in any way manipulate any data on your cell phone? Destroy the phone itself, or to manipulate or destroy any data on that cell phone?
I do not remember getting that letter, no.
I'm going to read this for the record, Your Honor, if I may, with the court's permission.
Yes.
Did you receive a letter that said, in essence, not even in essence, it should be quoted as the following, quote, "You, Mr. Albert, are hereby notified that the defense in the case of Commonwealth versus Kieran Reed, Norfolk Superior Court, criminal case number 22-117, has filed a motion pursuant to Mass R. Crim P. 17 for the production of any cell phones that you used between January 28, 2022 and February 28, 2022, and or any data associated with those cell phones, period. The hearing on Ms. Reed's motion will be held on October 3, 2022 at 2 p.m. in courtroom 1 of the Norfolk Superior Court. You may be heard on the motion at that time. You are hereby placed on notice that these cell phones are the subject of pending litigation, and you must not alter, delete, destroy, or in any way manipulate any of these electronic data associated with the cell phones at issue. Period, end quote. Did you receive a notice from the Commonwealth with that language?
I don't remember receiving that document, no.
Were you told in any other capacity that you were not to get rid of or delete your cell phone? In other words, preserve your phone.
Subsequent to me upgrading my phone, I spoke with the DA's office. So after that, they told me via a phone call that that was the case.
So your testimony is you never received the notice that I just read, but you did talk to the DA and he told you to preserve, you were on notice that you were to preserve your phone.
After.
I
Right,
know you
well-
want to say that, Mr. Albert. My question is, did you have the conversation with Mr. Lowry?
Yes.
Okay. When was that conversation, sir?
So I don't have the exact date of the conversation. I'm not sure.
Who did you talk to on the phone exactly? Was it Mr. Lally alone or was it a conference call?
It was a conference call.
Who else was on that conference call?
I believe Steve Nelson and other witnesses in the case were on the conference call.
Can you name those witnesses for us?
I believe it was Brian Higgins. I believe Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, and maybe somebody else, but I can't recall.
Who initiated that conference call?
I believe it was somebody in the DA's office, so either Mr. Lally or Steve Nelson, somebody like that.
Did everybody just call into a central number, a conference line?
Yes.
And what exactly did Mr. Lally say to you during the course of that conversation about preserving your phone?
During the conversation, Mr. Lally said that the defense had filed a motion to ask for the phones to be preserved.
And anything else?
That's what I remember him saying.
Did you volunteer that, oh my goodness, I just upgraded my phone last week conveniently. I don't have that phone anymore.
No.
You didn't say that to Mr. Lally?
No.
You just took the information that he gave you and hung up the phone and went about your business.
Yes.
Without notifying him that the very phone that he had just ordered you to preserve had just been destroyed days earlier.
No, the phone wasn't destroyed. I upgraded the phone.
The data was destroyed, sir. Correct?
I did not destroy any data on any phone.
Mr. Albert,
I upgraded my phone.
when you upgrade a phone, you know that the phone is set back to factory reset before your new phone is handed to you, correct? Happens every time.
I don't know that.
So if you have personal texts with your doctor, personal communications with Mr. Henning, your lawyer, you're just going to hand that to a pimply-faced kid at Best Buy and say, here's my phone? You know that data is destroyed when you upgrade your phone, right?
I think some things come over across contacts, things like that, so I don't know that for sure.
You can back up your data, sir, but the phone data is destroyed for all purposes. It's factory reset, correct?
I don't know that.
How long do you have a phone? That's an iPhone.
Years.
How many? You know that the phone prior The data's destroyed on it, correct?
Usually my contacts come over and my photos come over. So,
That's a backup.
no, I don't think I have that on backup, but okay.
Irrespective, you didn't tell Mr. Lally that you had gotten rid of that phone.
I was not asked that, and I didn't tell him that.
I see. You felt like if you weren't asked that, you didn't need to volunteer it, even though the conference call was specifically about preserving your phone pursuant to a judge's order. Correct?
What was the question?
You didn't offer to Mr. Lally that you had gotten rid of the very phone that he was telling you had to be preserved due to a judge's order.
I did not.
And you didn't seek any advice from, I'm not asking you for the communications. You did not seek any advice from counsel at that time for those purposes.
I don't believe I did, no.
May I have just one here?
Sure.
At some point, you indicated, Mr. Albert, at another proceeding, under oath, in relation to a conversation that you had with Brian Higgins about your phone. Quote, I don't recall saying I was going to get rid of my personal phone to Brian Higgins. I may have said that, you know, there's personal stuff on my phone. But I don't recall saying that to him, but I don't know. We had multiple conversations about things. Remember saying that under oath at another hearing?
Yes.
You literally admitted at that hearing there's personal, private data on that phone. Hence, you got rid of it, right?
No.
You certainly wouldn't allow some kid at the AT&T store to have your personal, private data. You're a cop.
No, I assume he doesn't have it
Why would you assume that?
because he took the phone and has it.
And what do you think happens to the data on the phone, sir? Let's just use common sense. What do you honestly think happens to the data on the phone when you turn it in and upgrade your phone?
I'm sure that the data's not there anymore. I'm sure.
It's destroyed, sir. Correct?
I don't know that for a fact. I know that some things are transferred back to the new phone.
You just said you know the data is not there.
Some data, I guess, isn't. Yes.
No, that's all I have.
All right. Mr. Lally, any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, I'm going to take a short recess. I want to let this witness